It's a beautiful day at the Lake Benue. Got my short sleeve shirt on. This is from the first triathlon I had done in 1995. So, processed foods, then the interesting thing now, the term ultra processed foods, so which is not whole nuts, okay, potatoes, no, natural, but okay, you got Martha's cornbread. Of course, it's empty. I didn't eat it. Okay, but so much interesting discussion that has just come out as some of us have been spending some time together talking about different food activity, blue zones. So when the articles start coming out in detail, and this is New Yorker magazine still processing, so clever, this January 13 in the New Yorker. Now, we haven't talked that much about the China study. Great book. Now, if you want to look up YouTube, and you can see the great documentary Forks Over Knives on that. But listen, the main thing that I started to go back and look at, okay, and that is the timing of all this, because I just found this from my dad has a consumer guide report, healthy 275 questions about the best health. I review it, not one mention. In 2009, we really weren't talking, referencing, or even thinking about processed foods, which is why I wear this shirt. When I did the first triathlon in 1995, amazing 30 years ago, we weren't doing that. I mean, the whole idea of nutrition was in a whole different, unfortunately, lower plane. Now, as I've talked with Arlene today, look, this is where I found it in the truly one line in the Blue Zone, cookbook came out to me truly like a baseball bat, and I've read it a couple times. It's like they never eat processed food. It's healthy, yeah. Now, what does that mean? But they never eat processed food. So when we have done now 3 Blue Zone cooking events, okay, then instead of pasta and then you open up a can of ragu, no, it's making the sauce, and it's all healthy. But okay, back to this for 1 second, because it's very interesting. One of the studies that they mentioned out of National Health Institute referenced 2,000 times, and it was only published in 2019. So this whole processed food stuff is the problem, and I am not going to take the time or am sophisticated enough to try and give you all of that. But I will say, look, there are a ton of cookbooks, but this is the one, Outlive, and is the only one that I have found that gives you the nutritional information per meal. One of the things that I've said recently is like vegan, vegetarian, eat all the meat, da da da. Do you know what is the nutrition in the meal that you're eating? And do you have some sort of framework to capture that information day to day, week to week? Do you know how much nutrition you're really getting? Not so much calories, because again, calories, not every calorie is the same. We've learned that. Okay, so here's the whole nuts that they certainly recommend and talk about. It's obviously healthy. Okay, 14 servings per container. 1 ounce has 160 calories. Okay, 14 grams of fat. Read the label. Okay, but again, you've got to understand healthy, non-processed versus processed. Here's the simple thing. They said it in the book. If you can make it in your own kitchen, it's probably not processed food. I say the simple thing is, look, if you got an expiration date on this, which it does, if you got an expiration date, it's processed food, there's no telling what it is, and you say, oh, well, it's not so bad, and da-da-da. Well, yeah, not so bad is not the way that I want to live, okay? Not so bad, good is never good enough. So at the end of the day, what we're leading up to is now on our channel, and certainly the March 6, March 7 event we're doing, Weekend in Longevity in Hot Springs. Look, this is about understanding not only healthy eating, but preparing healthy food and to avoid, okay, the ultra processed. Okay, process is bad. And then interesting, again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It would be technical, but your body changes. There is biological changes in your body by eating a lot of ultra processed food. Oh, that is so clever. Still processing. Okay. They divided the food. There was another study that divided into groups. Okay, group 1, group 2, group 3, and then group 4 is the ultra processed. The most important thing, again, we'll just end with that. What you got to pay attention to, and listen, take a scratch pad, do whatever you want to, but keep track of the calories. We were going to give you some information out of the this cookbook. We've done stuff off of the Blue Zones cookbook. This was the second book I think he published about solutions. Okay, eating like they do, and this is the Hall of Fame. In fact, I think he mentioned it in here that somebody said it was, absolutely the biggest. It is the bestseller. 2 million copies sold. I know it's thick, but let me tell you what, it has all the documentation. It's the most comprehensive study ever. Where do you come out? Plant-based, non-processed. It's as simple as that, okay? And nutrition, I've read something else that says you need to be more focused on nutrition than you do whether it's got pesticides or not. Okay, nutrition, that is where we're going to come out with our video podcast soon. Nutrition Sense, okay, for the money, and it makes sense. Nutrition Sense. We want you to live healthy, feel good, and there are some basic things that you can do in my own testimony, so to speak, and experience. I know he did a video where I was actually filmed it in my kitchen, said here's the kitchen floor that I fell down on, but listen, you can be amazed at how much progress you can make in 2 months. And at our video November 1, I said, look, I can show you my blood work that will show the success we have. Okay, also in New York Times Magazine, from the Sunday New York Times, this is the first place I've seen this. There are 2 billion, with a B, billion people that suffer from chronic pain. We've had some videos before where we talked about chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the #1 killer, but now it is, and again, it can be addressed through inflammation through healthy foods as well. So we'll talk about chronic pain too. Listen, thanks so much. Hey, get out and enjoy the day. It's beautiful.